conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Vader City Council at 6:03 p.m. on November 5th, 2025. Roll call.
Jason Daly.
Here.
Nicole Hansen.
Here.
John Hurt.
Here.
Michael Wilson.
Here.
Mike Parsons.
Here.
Mayor Shai.
I am also here. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor's report. RMSA award. We were awarded this year for our efforts in proactively managing risks and improving safety. Thank you. And so I believe that the certificate is in your packet to look at from RMSA. And Lewis County News actually ran a little article about that. If you dig way back in the newspaper this week, it's in there. So good job to city staff for making that happen, making our insurance company happy. Lewis County Lodging Tax Grant. So we were awarded $5,000 for the 2026 4th of July event funding. It was a successful presentation, and so same as last year. So very exciting. That'll help us out with that 4th of July event. City accountability audit from Washington State. So that's still ongoing, and we're actively working with the auditors. I believe tomorrow, is that correct? Tomorrow there's a open conference with them. Yeah, and council members were invited to that. Water system receivership. So we've got significant work taking place between the city, county, and our engineers, working on getting all those documents put together and trying to acquire the documents from Lewis County. So far, they've been cooperating mostly, and so still working away, plugging away at that. McMurphy Park grant, cultural resources survey report was complete, and we're still waiting on the state for the review. We did meet with the grant manager for that out at the park a couple of weeks ago, and they said Vader was the very first city in the state that had received the grant to get them our cultural resources survey. So they were very surprised at how quick we were able to pull that off and get it done. So yay for us. Financial software on-site training. The city staff took part in that last week, and they're very happy with that. It was very informative and worth their time. So it was a good experience, and they learned a lot. City Hall, that was a haunted house last Friday for Halloween. Great success. There was actually pretty good attendance considering the rain, and lots of kids had fun, and we had fun. So probably do it again next year. Planning committee, there's another meeting next week on the 12th, and budget 2026. The next public hearing will be on December 3rd at the council meeting. Council reports.
I have a couple.
Yes.
So first, I just want to say thank you to the voters and the supporters and everyone that ran in the election. I know we're still waiting for some ballots, but I want to say thank you. Also, we recently talked about America 250, so that's the 250th anniversary is next year, and Vader signed up to be a partner. So in a recent newsletter, there was actually a picture of the City of Vader council area, which I thought was really cool that we were included in the state newsletter. And I just want to share a few things from that newsletter so the community knows what's going on. So Moments That Made Us is a free customizable print-on-demand exhibition exploring the ideals and the hearts of the Declaration of Independence. Moments That Made Us planning team invites you to an informal Zoom webinar on Thursday, November 13th at 10 a.m. So people can do that. And we're excited about the America's Field Trip. This is a nationwide contest that invites students grades 3 to 12 to share their perspectives on America with the chance to win extraordinary trips to some of the country's most iconic landmarks. To participate, students need to create a piece of writing or original artwork that answers the question, what does America mean to you? There's a lot of other great ideas in the newsletter and on the state website, so if you have questions, please ask us, but we want to keep passing those ideas along. Anybody have any questions before I move on to something really exciting? No? Okay. So the last thing on my list is about the property tax levy. we're gonna be asked to talk about the property tax levy in the next couple of weeks. And I've had a lot of conversations with the city recently. And really my position is not whether we should or should not raise the levy, but I really think it's our responsibility to educate the community and give them some tools on how to calculate how this would impact them. So I created a, I don't know what we're gonna call this. Can you give me, oh, thank you, give it back to me. So I created a tool so that people could kind of empower themselves to understand how the levy would impact them personally. So there's a set of steps right here on the side. We're not going to read it all. But for example, if your house assessed value is $368,000, you would put that number there. There's a set of steps here to figure out how much of the levy goes to the city of Vader. And you put that number here. You can find this information on the county website. And there's instructions on how to do that. Basically what happens is it automatically calculates the cost to you for these increases. So if council chose to increase property tax levy by 5%, this person's property taxes would go up by $18 for the entire year. And I just want us to have a real understanding of what our choices would do or could do. And I also want the community to be able to solve for this. There's a blue box up here that's customizable. So right now we have the option to raise the tax levy by 1% up to 20%. Again, I'm not suggesting we do any of those things. I just want us to have information. But if we raised it, say, to 15%, you can see this box down here change. And the most someone would pay for the year is $56 would be their increase. So I've asked if the city would be interested in posting this on the website, just so residents could spend a little time playing with it, putting their own property value in there, and understanding what the increase to the property tax levy would look like and how it would impact them. So I talked to Mayor Sheehy earlier today and asked if it was easy potentially for us to put a link to this on the website and the Google Drive, just because I want our residents to be educated, and I'm curious what you guys think about providing a tool like this to the community.
That's nice, especially since the community also needs to know that this is how we fund our city, is through property taxes. That we don't have very much in sales tax or any other revenue that comes in. So this is how we pay our employees and for everything. So anyway, I think it looks like a great tool. It's very educational.
That's all I have for us.
Yeah, I really appreciate you putting some time into that. I think it's great. I know there's a lot of misunderstanding with property tax and how the numbers come to be. And so anything we can do to educate, or at least attempt to, is worthwhile.
Yeah, I'll second what Joe just said. It's I thank you for putting that together, and so that it makes it easy for people to understand. I think how we get it in people's hands is the next question.
Yeah, and we can, like Nicole mentioned, we can absolutely get it on the website, put a link up front. In the next sewer billing. When is the next sewer billing? That's after. Yeah. And so, but yeah, we can make it really easy for people to get to, and make it.
Can the link be put on Facebook?
It could be shareable too. Yeah.
Could we attach a QR code to it?
Where?
A QR code link to the, open that up to insert in the information, so that, the QR code could be easily shared in the newsletter versus someone having to punch in a, web page or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense on the newsletter. Yeah. All right. Any other comments about that?
Not about that. That was great. Thank you. But I just wanted to let the public know that the Little Crate and are taking and the Lions Club are taking names of families that need help for the Christmas season and for Thanksgiving down at the restaurant. So if you need help for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, please sign up down there and let's do our best. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you letting us have people sign up. It's a great opportunity.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. It's really odd to have so much light beaming down on me. We put in LED light fixtures here and it's very bright.
I even thought it was
It makes for great photos. All right, moving on to what is next? Agenda approval. I do not have any suggestions for agenda approval or changes.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda for city council meeting November 5th, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Daly. Any discussion? Okay. Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes approval.
Make a motion that we approve the city council meeting minutes for October 15th, 2025 as written.
The motion by Mr. Daly to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Parsons. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval.
Make a motion that we approve the end of October 2025 for $58,281.09.
We have a, put the second part,
Huh?
second part as well.
Oh, and the bottom, I'm sorry. At the beginning of November 2025, $48,515.75.
We have a motion by Mr. Hurt to approve the vouchers as stated. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Daly. Discussion? All those in favor of the vouchers say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Special reports, Mr. Rubin, Lewis County Sheriff's Office.
Good morning. And I'm dropping stuff. So for October 2025, there's 195 citizen contacts, 2 on-shift calls, 14 traffic stops, 2 infractions, 1 misdemeanor arrest, 11 total calls for the month, 1 custodial arrest off shift, and 1 criminal citation off shift. So, and I believe the off shift arrest was for assault 4TB.
11 calls all month.
11 calls all month. 2 of them were during the shift, so they're still coming out here
But still, I think
all that other
the
time.
community's doing pretty well
Yeah.
I wanted
with
to
the
say
sheriffs.
thank you to you and your department
Yeah.
too, because a lot of us have brought up concerns about the speeding in the morning, and I've noticed that you guys are out there early and paying attention to stuff. So thank you for listening to our concerns.
You guys want to keep those early morning shifts going through November?
What does council think?
So can you explain these resource officers that are coming into town now?
Oh, the community service officers?
Yeah.
So they're basically officers that are assigned to our animal control division.
Okay.
So they also have, they do like RSO checks, civil processes, and a variety of other tasks as needed. So mostly if you're gonna see them in town, probably is gonna be animal related, and they'll be dealing with that.
Do they do, Darren, help me out here. We were just looking at people to do this.
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement. Do those guys do code enforcement? I know that it's not part of the contract, but
Right, they, I mean, as far as Lewis County has their own code enforcement officers, so mostly these guys are dealing with the, like I said, the animal control,
civil papers, RSOs, maybe dealing with abandoned vehicles and stuff of that nature out in the county. So
Are they full officers or they're reserves?
they are not a full deputy. They do have limited authority in relation to what they're assigned to do. So they don't have necessarily those powers of arrest like a full-size deputy.
Yeah, because there was a person in town here that was asking about them that actually got help from them. And I was wondering if it was going towards our 12 hours and I told her, no, they weren't.
No, they are down here for other things that has nothing to do with the,
They write animal control tickets
yes,
to pay for themselves.
well, not,
Well, I mean, but that's, maybe that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
they do the animal control. But as far as the schedule. of the
Oh,
deputies-
good. I would still keep it early. I think it's more visible for most of the community, more of the community. Because they're out and about early and afternoons they're home for the whatever. So I think it helps because more people are talking about seeing them, more people are seeing them, and it gets around that they're here more often, even though they may not be, but I think it's helping. That's my opinion.
I usually
I just
sleep
got-
in, so it's perfect.
And are there any events going on in November that I should probably be aware of that might need some extra control?
No.
We do have our Christmas event December 6th.
We're not gonna do pumpkin chunkin? Oh, that's Halloween. I was thinking it was a Thanksgiving thing.
There's a Christmas bazaar and the tree lighting at the jail on Saturday, the first Saturday in December.
What time is that?
10 a.m.
Tree lighting at 10 a.m.
What,
The whole event starts at
It's not that dark.
10.
there's a parade at 6 and then the tree lighting's at 7, you said?
Right after the parade, probably like 6:15. Won't be a huge parade.
Yeah.
No beer garden at the Christmas tree lighting.
No beer garden?
No beer garden.
Okay, cool.
I thought you said there was. I'm
Eggnog.
like, what's happening? This is a different kind of Santa.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Thanks, Ruben.
We appreciate
When
it.
is that?
The first Saturday in December. All right, any public comment tonight? Any members of the public have any comments? Okay, moving on to the public hearing. So there are, all right, this public hearing is for the preliminary budget and levy rates. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on the preliminary budget. I believe we have some copies available, correct? And we've put them online with the packet. Yep, and so is available for members of the public to comment. So I'll open this public hearing at 6:21 p.m. The vast majority of folks that are in this room are probably not here to comment. Any members of the public have any comments tonight? Okay. There'll be time for city council discussion here in just a moment too. But if council had anything to say before that, we can say that. All right, last call for any public comment on the preliminary budget and levy rates. Anyone online? Jen?
I don't have any, sorry, thank you.
Okay. You're the only one that might, so. All right, this public hearing is closed at 6:23 p.m. I try. Okay. Moving on to city business, item number 1, council to discuss the 2026 budget and process. So council, you've got the mayor's letter. It did come in well, I guess it was after midnight, so I guess it was 2 days late, but I tried for 1 day late. That was due to trying to get the November reconciliations done And so obviously city staff didn't come in until Monday, the first day of the month. And so they needed an extra day to actually prepare those documents so we could have more accurate budget numbers for you. And then, of course, the mayor's budget letter is based on the preliminary budget. So this is an opportunity for you to talk or ask questions. If this forum is too limiting, I am open to scheduling workshops or a workshop, but I've got all night, so let's get going.
I would like to sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
You know, I seen a couple things where I'd like to shift around, especially knowing that we got the $5,000 grant for the 4th of July. I had questions about like if we were adding to the budget that we already set aside for, you know, festivals and things like that, or if we were just maintaining the number at $10,000, because I seen that was proposed. So I've got a couple questions about that. So if we can meet anytime during the week,
we can
you
talk
know,
about it right now. That's a great thing to talk about. Unless you don't want to talk about it.
yeah, I don't want to drag the meeting out. I'd rather do a workshop since you offered that up so that we could just kind of hammer it out.
Yeah, with the workshop, we'd have another meeting. It's an open public meeting similar to this. We can schedule it anytime. There'd be a singular topic on the agenda. It would not be there'd be no voting, obviously. It's just to discuss and share.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we could certainly do that if people felt like they wanted to. So
I prefer to do that. I couldn't be there this evening, so I apologize, and I'd rather do it in person so I can move the numbers around on paper. I don't have it on my screen right now to, you know, look at it.
how does everyone else feel?
I'm good with that.
That would be too.
Okay. When? That's the next big question.
Can we schedule it next Monday at 1?
I'll be back from the.
Man, I'm the one with the problems now.
Later would be preferable,
For what?
like later in the day would be preferable for me.
Would it work for you later in the day, Joe?
I know this doesn't necessarily work for our city staff, but what about Veterans Day?
Wait a minute.
So from a financial standpoint, you would have to pay employees time and a half, and I don't recommend that. I mean, obviously we would.
Or I'd have to find someone else to take notes. No volunteers. I'm only suggesting that because of my work schedule earlier in the week.
So let me just ask, does it need to be a workshop then, or could it be an individual meeting with my?
I can absolutely get together, find time to get together with.
I mean, I
with
don't
Mike.
quite understand because I'm new, and so, you know, everyone else weigh in if a workshop is better, so we can all hear what's going on. Maybe that makes sense. Because Angel only has to do it once.
Yeah, it's the same as doing it right now. It's just at a different time, and then Mr. Ferguson could attend in person.
So I was just looking, I found the email. It says, as always, if any one of you individually or as a group would like to discuss the budget in detail outside of the council meeting, I'd be more than happy to meet. So I was kind of like maybe referring to that. If it's just you and I and you want to sit down, like I would like to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
Me personally, as to, you know, where things are. I appreciate Nicole shining light on the levy. Because you know, one of my main objectives being on the council and volunteering my time to do it, you know, I'm an elected official and I have a responsibility, but I don't want my taxes to go up. You know, everything's expensive. So, but knowing that it's such an insignificant amount, or maybe not so insignificant to others, but I'm willing to do so. So I want to get on board with it, but I want to make sure that everything is being allocated where it should be. And that's all.
Well, I can definitely get together with you, Mike, if you have time later this week, especially, any day, including Saturday, I can get together with you.
Yeah, we can touch base midday Saturday. Work for you? You have my number. We can schedule something up.
Yeah, sometime around there. For the rest of you though, if you wanted, anything else on the budget we can talk about tonight, like I said, we could.
I wouldn't mind if you quickly could answer the question about the 4th of July budget, because I noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Do we always do $10,000 and now we're adding a $5,000 grant, or?
Last year we budgeted, I believe it was 7,500 for community celebration. Is that correct? Yeah, 7,500, and we had the LTAC grant as well. And we did go over budget on that 7,500, and of course we spent all of the $5,000 LTAC grant. And so I think we were in the 9,500-ish is what we actually spent on community celebrations. And so that's not just 4th of July. That's anytime the city pays for an event insurance policy. Quite often Mayday comes to us and says, hey, can you help cover the $400 insurance policy? That city council is gracious and does that because it's so good for the community. So other things like that come out of that. The Christmas Bazaar or the tree lighting has an insurance policy for a few $100s, and so it comes out of it too. So several of those add up. So it's not just 4th of July, but certainly a bulk of that is 4th of July. And so since we did go over last year, and I know the 4th of July committee has even greater, not expectations, aspirations this year. We did bump it up just by a little bit, but really this was about how much we spent this year. So the 10,000.
But we also got donation from the other town, right? Toledo or
For fireworks, yeah.
fireworks.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the fireworks show was certainly larger than it would have been if it had just been us. Now, that said, our show is always pretty good,
Yes.
and it would have been as good as it always is. It was just even more this time. Crazy.
Memorable.
Yeah. It was a fun. Some people have described it as a finale from the beginning to the end, and so that was unusual, but welcome. Yeah.
And is that happening? Do you know if they are wanting to?
I don't believe that will happen again. That was a one-off event.
Okay. Yeah. So they're not wanting to team up with us?
It was a family that was doing it, and I mean they were semi-professionals, but I think they were going to try to find their location in Toledo again, a different location in Toledo, and I also know I think they're also moving, and so this might be their last year anyway. So there's some other things going on with that.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's not that they don't want to work with Vader, it's that it's for Toledo, they want to give to Toledo. So. Other questions about the budget, and that kind of just goes back to the workshop. If we don't necessarily need a workshop, we can just do this right now. I'm prepared to do it now if we had questions. If you're not prepared to do it now, we can wait. I'll talk to you all night long, so you just tell me what you want to do.
Like I said, I don't have it in front of me, so I'd much rather sit down and discuss it.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely get with you, Mike, this week.
Seems like we're good. If we have questions, we'll follow up.
Okay, definitely follow up. We need to set a levy at the next meeting. And so if it's whatever that is, we need to choose.
That levy that you're talking about, we just got our appraisal for the year, or property. Ours went up $46,000.
Get into my talk to you about property tax position.
Huh?
Yeah, so your property value went up, your taxes didn't go up. They are not the same.
I'm paying more money.
Not necessarily. Not if everyone in the,
I'm writing a check that's bigger than I wrote the year before.
Not because of Vader.
No, not because of Vader, but
Yeah.
because of all of it.
Right, because there's the fire district, cemetery district, school district. All that, yeah.
On and on and on. And then the idiot, you know.
It's still a percentage rate and a value. And that's what, like, Nicole laid it out pretty easy there. Like, you change the value. If my house went up more in value, the set percentage rate is the same, right? I mean, it goes up, right?
No,
It goes
not,
up.
not necessarily, because it's a ratio between you and everyone else in town is what it is. So like if everyone's house in town went up $1 million equally, no one's taxes would go up, because not from Vader anyway, not from anybody, unless someone raised their taxes. Your house value does not create more tax. Now, if your house became more valuable than everyone else's house, then your portion of the tax would be higher. But if everyone's properties go up equally, then your taxes don't change.
Yeah, I might be stupid, but that makes sense.
It doesn't change from 1825 to 2175.
No.
I mean,
Because you understand this. I explained it to you.
Yeah, but if the value goes up,
But it's a ratio with everyone's, the total city value. So let's say the city's worth, this Vader's worth around, I think, what was it, 83, 88 million, I think is in the latest. It's in the,
screen share.
it's on the back
yeah.
thing. All right, here we go.
Well, this is
Where's
the,
Ross?
I'll put it back up. So this is
Okay.
the current locally assessed value for the city of Vader. It's 82,270.
Let's see if I can make just part of this bigger.
Yeah, so hey, can you enter my home value like $514,000?
So hang on a second, 514. And then this number is gonna be 521.63. Oops. 521.
That's your assessed value, Mike? From the
That's-
county?
Yeah.
So then if we raised it 5%, you would be paying an additional $26 a year.
How do I make this? There we go.
On top of the tax. Yeah, okay. I mean, that like I got that to share with the people, you know.
Well, it's
That's kind of where I'm at on it. Like I mean, no matter how you slice it, like it costs more money to each individual homeowner. Like that's like you can't butter it up with any kind of frosting and make it look any different.
Sorry, I'm just putting those values there as a placeholder for me.
Trying to come up with a way to explain this.
So, I mean, yes, to some degree, right? Our previous assessed value was 514. And your total taxes to the city of Vader was 521, right? So if your house had previously been 500,000, it would have been 507. So, I mean, Joe, I think if their house value went up, but you're right, our total levy wouldn't. So how would that? I don't quite.
Right, because what's not happening by just
Doing an
changing,
individual one, it's not dividing it by everybody.
right, because you're not changing. You're correct. If your house went up to 500,000, but no one else's went up, you would be paying more tax. But everyone's properties are going up, right?
Yeah, therefore the value of Vader goes up.
Right.
So
The value of Vader goes up, but our levy amount doesn't change, right? This number here is what the city council votes on, right? So this is the city of Vader levy. We collect $83,496.76 every single year, no matter what. Your house could be worth $1 million and we wouldn't collect, and your share of the, of this number would change from whatever it was, 450 to 500 and something. But your house doesn't go up on its own. All of your neighbors go up as well. And so the neighbor's share of this number goes up as well. And so you don't alone pay for this increase. If I had time, I'd make an entire spreadsheet and show you. But it's true. It's true. If you added, let's say you went in and you added a big extension on your house. Hey, actually, you did.
I did. And now I'm paying for it. But what I'm saying is, how can we increase the value of Vader to 84 million? And I want to see what the $83,496.75 or 76 cents does. That never changes, even if Vader's worth $2 million more.
That's correct. That number is set. I know we talk about percentages a lot when we set the levy, but we're really not choosing a percentage. We are choosing a dollar amount. So if, for instance, right now, our max levy in the city of Vader is 101,000 and something. So that is the absolute most that we could raise our levy. And so the city council said, what the city council does is say, all right, our budget is short $10,000. We need to raise property taxes $10,000. And so when we submit our form to the county and the state, we have a dollar amount on there. There's a percentage too, but it's a percentage change. And it's a change over that 83,496. So for instance, we have 21.49% bank capacity, 21.49% above that $83,000 number, which is why 20% more of 83,000 is 17,000 and something, which gets us to that 100,000, which is our max levy. There is.
So change that 5% to 20%.
I mean, I see that right now we just have it set at 1%. And so we're collecting 1% of the net worth of our town as far as the levy goes. And I mean, that's what I see on the screen here.
Yeah.
Looking at.
Yeah. We got
so if the value of the town goes up, then the 1% is going to reflect, like if it goes up to 84 million, then we'll collect 84,000 something, which is insignificant change, in the perspective of the value of like what we're trying to collect.
No, Mike, I don't think it goes up at all if the value goes up.
Yeah, the city could be worth $1 billion and the city of Vader would still collect the same amount of money. Yes, Mr. Notch.
Say you have $100,000 levy and you have 100 houses in town.
Yes.
That's all, those 100 houses split that $100,000.
Yes.
So $1,000 a house.
Yes.
If you build 10 more houses in town,
yes,
$100,000 is now split by 110 houses.
Correct.
So you actually pay less.
Very good. Correct. Yes, that is correct.
That's the driving.
That makes sense. Thanks, Joe.
But if you raise your levy amount, everybody may have to pay more. Well, they will because everybody has to go up to the levy amount, but it still gets divided among all the houses in town evenly.
And it's a good point. When we built this spreadsheet, we talked about whether or not we wanted to have some way to escalate it based on the developments that we know are coming and the houses we know are coming. But we felt like that made the spreadsheet too complicated for, general use. But in theory, we increase, say, hypothetically 5% this year. And in the next 5 years, we have another 20 houses. It probably comes back to where it is. I mean.
So and this, I don't know if this is going to help things or make it more confusing. Let's say the city was able to annex in our UGA, all right? And we add 100 more homes, all right? The city would still collect the same amount of property tax, 83,496, because that's our levy amount. To collect more, to actually, if we didn't change, so if we didn't change it, we would collect the same amount, but it would be spread out among more houses. So everyone's property taxes would get lower. All the new folks in the UGA that are now in the city limits, everyone in the city limits, everyone's property taxes would get lower, and the city would still make the same amount of money because there's more people to spread out the $83,000 amongst. And so if the city were to annex in the UGA, the only way we're going to be able to collect more sales tax or real property tax is to quote unquote raise the levy up to a certain amount that we calculate, and everyone's property taxes will be able to stay the same, even though we're collecting more money because there's more people to spread it about, spread it over. Does that make sense?
Asterisk on that, the portion that you pay to Vader.
The
would
Vader
stay the
portion.
same. Your property taxes as it relates to school districts or other things could still go up.
That-
That's
yeah.
not what we're- that's not what we're.
So how much do you believe that we need to go up from that 83,000 to cover for this next year, the projects that we want to do, like the possible code enforcement officer and equipment that we need around here?
What's up? Well, there's like
Yeah.
a few things to that question.
Yeah, that's too much money.
So,
Yeah.
like I said a minute ago, the maximum levy, if I make that go away and I put this up, I believe, I didn't have it at the end of that, did I? I had it in here. Let's just add more windows, shall we? Okay, this is.
I would gently like to remind everybody that this time last year, I wanted to raise taxes some because it funds our city. Last year, we were very close to having a deficit again, and I remember and recall that we waited because we wanted to see what was gonna happen after things happened in the elections. If things were gonna go down and then we were gonna raise taxes, and I said, okay, but it's not gonna work, and we're gonna raise taxes afterwards, and you guys, I probably will have to pull it up on some kind of recording, but you guys pretty much agreed to it. If things don't go down, then we're gonna have to do it, because that's what funds our city. 3% raises every year for our employees. We just don't have the money there anymore to do it when we get no percentage raises every year for the city. And now we're at, last year, I believe we did have our 2-month goal at the end. This year we don't, and it's one of our main reasons. That's our main cost, is employee cost. And I can assure you that that's the main cost in any business in Washington State right now.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I know it's hard that we have to make these decisions. I have property in Vader. I don't want them to go up either. But it is part of funding the place that you work and live and love is.
Well, isn't that where they said no on the levy, but they approved the sewer rates?
Well, we
Last
haven't
year,
done that
something-
yet, potentially, we're.
Yeah, we had to do that last year. We wanted to, I actually motioned to bank the 1% last year, because we were raising the sewer rates. I wanted to ask Kristen though, like, what was the balance, this time last year in the city bank accounts? Like, is it similar to where we're at right now?
I can
Or have we gone backwards, you know?
Yeah.
Is it-
Oh, yeah, I have more windows. This is my personal spreadsheet that I use to track the city stuff. It's not, the clerks have access to it. You don't wanna, has this been updated? This is through July. I haven't added that in there yet. No. What's the other one? Oh, this is it. It's just way over here. Okay, so this is what you want to see. Oh, actually, Mike, I don't know if you can see this because I'm not sharing it, am I? Because I'm sharing Nicole's thing.
I stopped sharing. So.
Oh, she stopped sharing. All right, Mike, this is what you want to see. Let's see if I can zoom in on this.
Yeah, right. All day.
So this chart right here goes back to 2020, and it has all of these columns, all right? So this is our Timberland checking account balance. This is our local investment pool, basically our savings account. And then this would be each month. And so this is the checks that are outstanding, the deposits that still need to be made, amount of not petty cash, but on-site cash that we have for the cash register. And then our total balance that we have of all of the funds the city has. And so you can see that at the end of October, we're at 657. And you can kind of go back and see here that we're relatively stable. And you'll see some months that are bigger and some that are smaller. For instance, a good example would be when we got $50,000 for the comp plan from Department of Commerce, $100,000 for the climate plan. And so we have money coming in and going out in large chunks. And if you go back even further, you'll see some big numbers related to wastewater treatment plant grants and things like that coming in. And so I have them noted just so I know why these are kind of outliers. And so, but you can
Right. It just seemed to me like this time last year we were looking at around $600,000-ish to work with, rolling over into the following year. That's why I asked.
Yeah, and so you can see that
As far as totals, like, because we have balances due and because we have loans and all that, but you know.
And so, and always keep in mind about a little over 300,000 of this is in the sewer reserve fund. So it's specifically for, sewer reserve expenses if we had those. So roughly half of the money is in that. Also, a large percentage of the money is probably 100,000 of it at any given time is related to the sewer utility ratepayers. So people pay their monthly bills, and then the account balance goes up, and then we pay payroll and pay for chemicals and everything, and then it goes back down again. And so you can see that though we've been pretty consistent. We've been very careful to not overspend for quite some time, and so very predictable and repeatable. And so this is going to be an example of how, if you remove, I gotta explain this, I don't know how much people want to know. Anyone stop me if I'm going too far here. So here's an example of October, our Timberland bank accounts, our investment pool, interest and everything. So here's a breakdown of where the money goes. And so here's how much money we have. This is the REIT fund. So this is real estate excise tax. So every time a house sells, we get 0.5% tax on it. And that money needs to be spent on capital improvement projects. And so we spent a little bit of money on that on the various stormwater improvement projects we did this year and last year. A lot of that money is in the budget you saw is reserved for matching funds that we're going to use for the Murphy Park grant. And so that's real estate excise tax. It has a name. We can only spend it on certain things. We can't use it on payroll and whatnot. This is the sewer, like the active sewer account. So this is the money that people paid into the account on their monthly bills. And so that is all sewer money. This is the sewer reserve account. That's 300,000. And so once you pull all that out, that leaves about $100,000 for the general fund. So that would be park streets.
$5,900 for jail window insurance?
Hold on, you're reading ahead. So
no, like that. No, I am reading ahead. Like
no,
you
okay.
already said ARPA.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
And so that's how much of basically is for non-sewer and REIT-related things. There's $100,000 left over. Right. All right. So this was an old line item related to money that we got for our ARPA grant. And of course, we've expended all of that a couple years or a while back. All right, this jail window insurance. So if you remember a couple years ago, we had vandalism at the jail and they broke out the windows. The insurance company paid us $5,900. We still haven't replaced the windows yet. To get those windows has been a challenge. And I know a couple years is a long time, but anyway, it just hasn't happened. But this is just kind of reserving that money because it came from the insurance company. That's not necessarily to spend, but that's how much they gave us. I just didn't want it to be forgotten about. So that's why I keep track of it.
I seen the minus next to it and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So we're kind of counting down, where's all the money going, right? What does the city have? And so that leaves 101,000 in the general fund. Now, if you remove our 2-month expenditure, so this is money that we don't want to spend. We could spend it if we want to, and it is our money to spend. But it's 2 months expenditures, which we try to keep in reserve. We try not to spend 2 months worth of money every year in case, I don't know, if the state collapses.
We got to have a backup plan, man.
Or if they stop sending us money for 2 months for some reason, we'd still have a couple of months in reserve. So that leaves, so that means we've got about $46,000 in October in the general fund. And so that's how that breaks out, and then where these numbers come from. And so that's why 107,000 minus the jail windows, and it kind of break 2 months expenditures. Now, and why I have this in here, why do I have this minus $36,000? So we still have about $36,000 worth of grant money sitting in our checking account that we haven't spent for the comprehensive plan and the climate plan. And so that is money that is going to be spent on that. And so we'd want to make sure that, again, that's sitting off to the side from our calculations. So, and so you do that.
Absolutely. We've already allocated it.
Yeah, it's sitting there. We want to make sure it's not really ours to use on whatever playthings. I don't know. Minus the 2 months expenditures, and then we're sitting at about $9,500 at the end of October. So that's how kind of we keep track of it. I keep track of it on a month-to-month basis. And how we try to keep our funds level. And
looks a lot like my business expenses.
So, and then for fun, I track all the other cities and how much money they make and historical, and anyway, cool stuff. So what was the question that he had? I don't remember now. I think I covered it somehow. Anyway,
you
so
did.
This is, and I don't think I'm sharing this with you, Mike. Share something else. So this is a form that the county sends all of the cities every year. This was at the end of the letter I sent in the budget to all of you council members last night. I've stripped out some of the different taxing authorities in this. It goes on for multiple pages. It includes all the cemetery districts, all the fire districts, port districts, on and on and on and on. But I kept things that might be relevant for comparison. So I kept all the local Toledo, Napa, NPL, Winlock, Vader fire districts for comparison, all the cemetery districts locally, and then of course I kept all of the cities. And so what this form does is it tells us where we're at for our property tax levy, and it helps us plan the property tax levy. And so what these columns are is, for instance, this column here, 2025 highest lawful levy, this is the most this city could levy. So right now we levy 83,496.76. That was on Ms. Hansen's spreadsheet. That was a number that you're probably familiar with by now. That's the city of Vader's current levy. This is our maximum levy. When we talk about bank capacity, we have 21.49% of bank capacity. If you were to do the math, 21.49% more than 83,000 is $101,443. So that's how those numbers relate. When we talk about bank capacity, it really does have a dollar amount, and it's 21% higher than our current 83%. So when we raise the when we say we raise the property taxes by 21%, we're raising it 21% above the Vader rate, not on whatever you actually pay. If you pay the Lewis County $3,500, your property taxes aren't going up 21%. So, and then other relevant numbers in here.
It's 21% above the Vader rate. That's not 21% on the assessed value of your home.
Correct.
Like that's what I want to hear, Joe. Like that right there is really simple.
Yeah.
And I think we as a group maybe need to be thoughtful about language, like we're not raising the property tax percentage, we're raising the property tax levy. Just because I think it will help people realize that it's a portion, or maybe there's some other language we need to use over time. Doesn't have to be today that we decide, but.
That's why we don't have an elementary school, was because a levy wasn't passed and people didn't want to contribute. But like it was laid out here in front of me that I was going to have to contribute. If I went up 21%, it was going to cost me $108 a year. I have $10 a month to contribute to the town. I mean, that's, a couple hours of my time. I donate that anyway.
This next number, this 88 million, this number I really pay attention to. This is the value of the city. If you were to go through and add up all of the properties in the city of Vader, $88 million. And so this is a great number to look at year over year to see how the city is growing in value, right? Again, that doesn't necessarily mean your taxes are going up. It just means that the city is improving, right? Whether this is new construction, for instance, this column here is new construction. So 4 million of the increase in Vader of this number is related to new construction, not just increase in assessed values. And that's really neat. I mean, if you look at it versus some of our other cities, you can see that Vader had twice as much new construction as Toledo, quite a few more times than PL. It kind of goes on and on. I mean, even more than Napavine for some reason. Anyway, so really neat. And so you're able to go through and run some charts and see that, for the past many years, Vader has been, near the top in percentage growth. In fact, there's a state chart out there. If you look at like the top 25 cities in the state in 2025, I think for percentage growth, Vader's on that list, and no other cities in Lewis County are. And we're high. We're like 12 or something. So anyway, pretty proud of that, I think. So in any case, this is where a lot of those numbers come from. And if we ever have any questions, we ask the assessors. And there's some other columns over here, but there's some wacky stuff. And so.
And just for clarification, we need to decide about the levy in our next meeting.
Yeah, the levy needs to be set by the end of November. We have to submit the documents by the end of November. Our last council meeting is the 19th. Obviously, if we didn't want to set it on the 19th, we could hold a special meeting and we could set a special meeting later in the month as well. But then you start bumping up against things like Thanksgiving and things like that. So
I'll email this tool to Kristen, and maybe you can send it to the council members if you don't mind, so we have it, and then we can put a link to a couple places. Okay, perfect.
So all this stuff is in your packet. You can look at it, kind of ask some questions, and I can sit down with you and talk about it more if you want. I see some glazed eyes. So
yeah, you're welcome to.
Any other topics on the budget tonight? Again, if you have any suggestions, go through it, send us an email. I can get with you tomorrow, the next day.
We have all of our office staff here too, so if you guys have any questions for us, and then if you guys wouldn't mind listening, some suggestions or ideas.
So Darren, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the budget for next year for like pickup truck maintenance, tractor maintenance. We only have $750 aside for both of those. Knowing that both trucks need new batteries and one truck needs some new front tires, $750 is not going to get us very far. And then 2 new tires and the batteries are probably going to deplete that right out of the gate. So if we could maybe look at shuffling some money around, having 2 trucks.
What do you think that number should be? Swing high.
Did we ever do
Well,
a
last year
tune-up?
we had 1,500. And so with 2 trucks, I mean, I'd say 2,500 to 3,000. And we needed something major.
Did we ever do a tune-up on the new truck?
I don't think so, not yet.
So it's still only getting like
We just put a new alternator in it,
5 miles to the gallon or something like that?
8 miles, something like that.
Good thing the city's not big.
It's a gas engine, so if it was a diesel, it would have gotten better mileage.
Yeah, and then tractor maintenance is at 750. We just had it done last week, but.
But it was $1,100.
Huh?
It was $1,100.
Yeah, it was $1,100 for the maintenance. And then we have the snow plow hydraulics put on there, which was another $1,700.
So that should also be 3,000.
I am so excited about this snowplow. Bring it on.
And we're using the tractor quite a bit.
I don't see any snow in the forecast all the way through February.
Killing me.
If we just
So
maybe-
can we utilize REIT funds for public works? Is that what that's for?
Capital improvement projects, I don't think we can go out and buy a. So we could do something like the stormwater utility upgrade. We were able to do that. We could get you a full list of rules.
Sharon, I don't want to put you on the spot, so you can absolutely decline. But we had talked about code enforcement along the way, and I heard a rumor that you may have a professional opinion about what makes sense or doesn't make sense for us. And if that's incorrect, you can just decline.
No, I don't think it makes sense for the city not having the money to go out and hire a company. I've seen the rates. I don't like the rates. And us amongst staff, we've talked, and we're gonna we'd like to take on the code enforcement role, at least for the next year, and handle it in-house.
Okay.
And then, at the end of the year, we can reevaluate it. But I can go out and get pictures, give them to Kristen. Kristen has no problem sending out the letters. John's willing to help out, so Marlena as well. So I think between all of us, we can handle it.
So my question on that is, I agree with you on part of it, and I agree on having a company do it for us. We have a person in town now that's already had their 4th letter, registered letter sent out. They had a date that they had to have it cleaned up by. It's not cleaned up now. Where do we go from here? Do we have to go to the city attorney and
So we have that all, we should know exactly where we go from here.
So there's 3 letters that we send that are basically warning letters. We don't have any communication with them, or if we don't see any action being taken. And then after that 3rd letter, there is the date, and then there's the notice of violation that our attorney draws up. We put in the details, we add the pictures, and then from there, fines can.
And then we just need to collect on those fines. I think that's where the soft-heartedness bites us.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to take us too far from the budget conversation. I appreciate that's helpful. I know that the city staff is interested in helping, and I think it's helpful when we're thinking
That
about the
was
budget.
also some bear spray.
first, right?
Keep in mind, we as a staff are not asking to take on code enforcement because it's something that we think should stay in-house. We're asking for a year to possibly get in the annexation, get the water system up, and then at that point, there would be more funds coming into the city that could fund for an outside code enforcement if that's what you guys choose. So we're just asking you to consider options.
And we really appreciate you considering helping. That's really helpful strategy, so.
So will there be a way, because I know we're jumping around a little bit here, but is there a way that you guys can communicate with the council and tell us gives us updates monthly of how many letters been sent out, you know, where
What
we're
stage
at with
we're
it.
in with them.
Yeah.
We
So
can
we
put
have some
together a
kind of
spreadsheet,
communication
put it in
instead
your
of,
packets, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why we didn't.
I wouldn't want to put, we'd have to look into if we could put addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to figure out how to, yeah, give that to you guys so we can.
We'd have to look at the legality of it.
That-
see what we can and can't do.
that way, just for me, I know that it's actually working in-house. And if it's not working in-house, then we're gonna have to find a way to get a company to do it, because when we take over the annexing down yonder, that's a mess right now. We gotta start getting this cleaned up here, this city park cleaned up. And then we're gonna be in deep when we get down below. And I think by then, you know, we should have the money raised to where we can hire somebody and take the paint off you guys for doing it, you know. But
But I like the idea of it being in-house also, if we can. And then maybe we can bring on another person.
That's another suggestion I had was, maybe after this year, we look at keeping it in-house, where we have control over it, and find somebody that's retired that wants to work 16 hours a week. That's not really gonna mess with their retirement, you know, we can find a retired code enforcement or law enforcement person that might be interested, that knows the laws. And then we keep it in-house and we have control over it.
Because we went through this and we made it so that it works. It's just a matter of doing it.
So is this something we should put on our agenda for next time to discuss whether something already happens and I just took us in the wrong direction?
No, I expected that code enforcement would come up during the budget talks because if you noticed in the mayor letter, it didn't mention a high level anything about code enforcement in the list of increases. You know, the quotes that we've got range between, depending on the number of hours that we want, things like that, between $12,000 and $24,000 a year. That's a lot right now. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a lot right now. When we're so, you know, we've got some big costs this year, some big one-time costs, and
Well, bringing in that code enforcement, I mean, that amount you just gave doesn't even count attorney fees if it goes that far.
yeah, there could be additional stuff, you know, we just don't know yet. And so, at least for the first 6 months of the year, I think it'd be wise to table the idea of a outside agency, just until we can see where we are with some of our other endeavors. And that was going to be a suggestion for now. But we know those things, they exist, they're available. These companies are extremely excited to offer their services to us. I think they've even started reaching out to some of our neighbors too, I think. And so they'd really like to make some inroads into the area. And so they will be there when we are ready. So, but in the meantime, the staff has suggested that they'd really like to, you know, step up efforts that we've tried already and stay on top of them. Maybe find some, instead of doing it, I don't want to call it haphazardly, but as doing code enforcement when time is available, make time on a regular basis.
so I talked to a handful of people in town, going through town and stuff about code enforcement and stuff like that. And they all say, you know, that's a joke here in town. The city won't do anything anyway. So I like to see it reversed to where the city's actually doing something.
Don't worry, when things turn around, you'll start hearing a different tune from people. Yeah, so.
What are some of the concerns that you're hearing? Is it garbage? Is it junk vehicles? Is it abandoned buildings? What is the city's concern? What is council's concern as far as what you guys want to see us addressing?
Mine, like there's an area in town there that they have cars stacked on top of car, and they got it all through their yards. It's just stuff that's just rusting and going to junk, and it looks like crap when you drive down the street, you know? People's got crap and garbage all over in their yards, you know?
I can't say that we do have, we did have some code enforcement efforts against some of the biggest issues in town, and then the folks died. And so now we're kind of waiting for people to take ownership of the property. And so there's a little bit of that going on. It's hard to get a hold of the new owners.
When there isn't one.
Well, yeah, when there's other legal things going on. So there is some of that on some of the bigger problems.
So let's continue that.
Do we still have a complaint list?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a list I'm working on right now. First letter sent out, second letter sent out.
Because
Anytime you guys see something or hear something, please let us know. and then
Because
we can-
everything's, I'm sorry to interrupt. Everything's been complaint driven in the past. I mean, we don't go around looking for issues.
Correct, we don't have patrol.
What's that?
Yeah, we don't have patrol.
No, but when somebody calls in something, at least in the past, it would get put on a list. And that list has been there for 10 years now, because it's been there when we first got the ordinance or the policies and all the thing that we could actually do something with it. And the
So I've
first
never
one,
seen a list that's 10 years old. So we've got our own list that we're going on that's more current than that.
okay.
So when we do catch things, like when we're out and about, I'm out doing inspections and stuff, I'll catch people doing roofing projects without permits. Not that this is necessarily code enforcement, but it's still a code issue.
Yeah.
They're violating a code.
Yeah.
So we send them a letter and tell them that what code they violated, and usually they come in and say they didn't know and they pay their permit fee and we go inspect it and on we go. But, you know, I don't have a problem taking an hour out of each week, and if I need to make a drive through town and start making notes, it's something we can definitely do.
My thing is, our town is growing, and it's gonna grow, and we need to get more businesses brought in, you know? And people aren't gonna come in and buy homes and build businesses in places that are kind of junky. You know, it's just, it's not,
Conversation. The past 10 years.
so. It's just a pet peeve of mine. You know, doesn't take long to clean up your yards and
It's
stuff.
just how much money does council want to allocate to it, because it's gonna cost a lot of money to make a little money.
You
You
know,
add everything up.
and it has been going on for a while, but it's going to continue to go on. But there are issues that have gotten cleaned up. So, you know, while
There are some that have been gotten cleaned up.
been gotten clean,
That's exactly
Yeah.
what we're doing down
Yep.
here. No, there are, yes, there are
and there are smaller ones that you haven't even noticed where we send them letters and then they come in and they knock it out.
Yeah, they get it cleaned
Yeah.
up. But there are still some of the same ones, the cars piled up there. Now they're rusting. They were just cars piled up. Now they're rusting cars piled up on top of each other. And there's certain streets you just know that you're gonna drive down and it's gonna be nasty. And those are the same streets that when I moved into town, now 11 years ago, they were still, holy cow, look at that. And I think that we have the stuff to do it, but as soon as we start doing it, that's when the lawyers all come out and everybody's thinks that they can fight. It just gets nasty. And I think that whoever said it, that, oh yeah, they don't do anything. We have $1 million right over there worth of penalties, And you're right, we didn't do anything with it. So if we want to get it cleaned up, we need to get it cleaned up. And, but that's, I don't know if that's even a budget that we're talking about.
There is some money in code enforcement law regarding
Because it should
attorneys.
pay for itself,
So,
basically, because you're gonna have the idiots that don't want to do anything and they want to fight about it, and then pretty soon we own their house and that pays for the next cleanup. But we gotta follow through, otherwise it's just giving everybody warnings and they're gonna say, you know what, I can speed through town because the cops never write us tickets. But now they're writing tickets, so everybody's gonna slow down. Good job.
What gets pretty bad is like the people that live across the street from me that lives right next to the person that we're dealing with has to put rat poisoning on their air cleaner of their car because the rats from next door come up and get up into their cars and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just,
It's uncalled for.
That happens.
Sometimes people don't hold themselves accountable, so it requires folks like us to hold them accountable, and it's a tough job to do.
I mean, a majority of the letters that we send out, people are usually pretty responsive and come in, like Joe said, a lot of them are small things that you guys don't even know about or see. And they come in, we set up a plan, they get it taken care of within a couple of weeks. We go out and make sure it's taken care of, and most people respond, and they respond in a good way, and they're more than willing to take care of it. That's what we've
unfortunately,
noticed lately. It's just like you said, there's a few big ones. in town that
unfortunately, the big ones are the ones that
aren't
are,
moving, but like I said, we've sent out a third letter and we just, we're waiting the 30 days right now. Is that what it is on the third letter?
Yeah, we guys sent out.
So it's.
So is it,
Every time we send out a letter, we have to wait so many days.
I remember that meeting. Is it 4 letters now? Because I thought it was like a nicey, please letter, and then hey, let's get this done, and then done. Let's get it.
The fourth is when the notice of violation, when the fines are accrued. So you get one, hey, somebody reported this, we haven't investigated it, please contact us. The second one is, we still haven't heard from you, this is what the first letter stated. And then the third one is, this is your final warning, contact us and do something, or there'll be further action. And that's when the notice of violation.
and this was the procedure we were given by the attorney.
And each letter is 30 days apart.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is. 'Cause every letter is 30 days, so.
But
You figure by the time the
Yeah.
fourth letter goes out, you're looking at 90, 120 days, whatever.
I like this idea of like a report to council. This is a big issue. You know, if we take a little bit to put it together initially, but then to keep it updated and then redact the names or something like that. Not that it's not public information, you can ask for this information, but sometimes it's nice to, even though it's public, not to necessarily print flyers and send it all over City Hall. And so we could do that, and I think that would probably help keep us accountable to making sure things are progressing, so that if you get, if 2 council meetings go by and you get the report from us, you should be able to compare your agendas and see, hey, look, the next letter went out or the next letter went out. So we could definitely do that.
Yeah, and I mean, when I'm out, like I said, when I'm out doing inspections, I'm paying attention to stuff, so I'll come back and report stuff to Kristen. And
Even
it's not like we're just driving around doing nothing.
people in my driveway the other day wanting to take pictures of my place.
Yeah, see? Paying attention.
All right, so this is kind of a catch-all, this item number 1 in the city business for 2026 budget and process, but it all kind of relates, everything kind of relates in a way. Any other discussion tonight? And if not, sounds like we didn't want to necessarily do a workshop, but doing one-on-ones, I can get together with one-on-ones or 2-on-1s is fine too. Is that adequate?
Yes.
Yes, more? Mr. Ferguson?
Mike.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm putting away dinner. Yes,
Oh,
I'm on board with that.
Okay.
We're hungry tonight.
Yep, hands were full. I got it.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm
So,
so, I'm so sorry.
any other thing on the budget tonight, or we're moving on?
We're moving on.
Moving on.
I just have a question for the
Yes.
group. I feel like a lot of these topics are gonna be conversation heavy, and I could be wrong. So is there space to move some of these items to the next agenda? Does that make sense for us?
We could table things if we want.
I'm not saying we have to, I just wanna put it in people's ear if we get too far along.
I know Mr.
People get
Carson
too
needs to
tired.
hit the road.
Well, we got everyone here tonight, so this is great too. So
Okay.
let's move to item number 2, council to discuss adding a prayer or a moment of silence to the beginning of the council meeting. I know we've talked about this at a couple of meetings. Folks have expressed opinions or suggestions. This is your time, council. What do you think?
Well, I'll put this out. I told Nicole about this. I talked to a city manager in Oregon, and I talked to my brother-in-law that's on his city council. And neither one of them has a prayer. The reason they say it, they don't think that it's helpful. I have my own opinions on it, but talking to them, they say the Pledge of Allegiance, it's all they do, and then they get into what they need to be doing, and that's the city business. So I just thought that I would tell you guys that's what, and they're in some big cities. So, but then again, like Jason and I were talking the first time that this was brought up, I was watching the Senate the other day. They're doing these vote after vote after vote. Well, they have the same pastor up there every day doing a prayer before they start, their discussions and stuff. So to me, I'm gonna put it out to you there. I could care less either way, because if I want to pray what we're doing, I could sit here 5 minutes before the meeting starts and I can pray, or we can have a silent prayer, or we can have a big prayer. To me, it doesn't matter. And to me, this is a big topic for the council. And I think if it's not 100% agreed on, then we shouldn't have it whatsoever. We should just continue on what we're doing. So that's my 2 cents.
I wrote a little letter. So I would say it right. While I respect the personal beliefs of all the members of our community, I believe that government meetings should remain secular and inclusive. Council sessions are civic spaces where residents of all backgrounds, religious and non-religious, come together alike and participate in local governance. Opening these meetings to prayer, particularly if it reflects a specific faith tradition, risks making some community members feel excluded or marginalized. The Supreme Court has emphasized the importance of non-coercion and inclusivity. In practice, however, prayers can unintentionally signal government endorsement of a particular religion, and I believe undermines the neutrality that public institutions should uphold. So I respectfully urge the council to continue as we are with our work for the city as it stands.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council?
I don't. I think it's sad, but it is what it is. So this is, I don't know if any of you have ever listened to, I always forget his name, The Rest of the Story. Paul Harvey, thank you. And back in 1950, I think it's 56 or 64, one of those two. He did a thing about if I were the devil. And that's exactly what's going on right now with the world and the way just little things and taking God out of all of this. And how you were saying, how you were talking about the government. On every one of our bills, we have "In God We Trust." On our money, we have it. In our Pledge of Allegiance, we have it. The whole country was built by God and by his servants. And I just see just little pieces getting taken out all the time. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that 1% or that little 60-cent gas tax. It all starts adding up. And I was just trying to slow it down a little bit. But you're right. I will say, and I do say my own prayers. I just think that there's a video right now going around with the Department of Defense lady, is it Marjorie? I don't remember, one of them. But anyway, they get all of those, the head of the FBI, the DOD, all of these defense people in there, and the first thing they do is say a prayer. Because we're human and we need as much help as possible.
So here,
But there it
a
is.
couple meetings ago, we did the Pledge of Allegiance, and I was watching somebody that was in the audience, and they didn't put their hand on their heart, and they weren't mumbling the words. And I asked afterwards, why didn't you do the Pledge of Allegiance? They go, it's against our religious values. We're not political at all. We don't do the Pledge of Allegiance. They went on a list of different things that they said. So, but if a person can stand out there while we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, can they sit in silence while a prayer is being done, or a moment of silence is being done to where the people that want to pray can pray? And like Jason was saying, didn't you say last meeting that there used to be an amen after the moment of silence?
No,
That wasn't you?
no. There was a comment mentioned about having a moment of silence, and someone, I can't remember who said it at the time, but someone mentioned that if one person says amen at the end of the moment of silence, it like ruins the whole moment of prayer or moment of silence kind of thing. And so it's just vague, but you know, God is vague. God is the vaguest name out there, because God is Buddha, God is Jesus, God is, I don't know all these other people's gods, but they're all different. And if we pray, we would have to like bring in a different religion, like a priest for every time. We would have to be inclusive in order to make that right to everybody. I mean, God is within us. I'm not trying to take God out of everything that we do or out of life. I'm just trying to
Cover it up a little bit. And I don't mean that to be snarky, but I'm just saying it in the worldwide, because it used to be that people didn't have a problem. I mean, it was only 10 years ago that we were saying prayer here. Or 9 years ago, I think it was. And
the world has gotten a lot bigger, a lot more diverse than in 10 years. That's all I can say. It's
all right. Let's talk about trash.
Well, I mean, we don't have, I mean, I've heard what I'm assuming is a yes, I've heard a no, and I've heard of an indifferent. That is in no way a majority of the council. So, unless the council wants to motion to.
I wish I was there to stand with Mike. I really value his convictions, and I wish I was there, really, honestly, because there's a lot to this, because there was a separation between God and state, and so by law, like, I don't know if we're violating someone's rights, and like, you know, like the argument that Jason, you know, it's like, oh, are we, you know, marginalizing someone by praising Jesus or something? It's kind of ridiculous, but I don't think it's something that we should put into our schedule. But we could definitely pray together.
Like I said, I'm all for, if people want to pray, to come in before or stay after, but in between the gavel, it's just business. I'm not against prayer. I'm just, when business starts, it's business.
I honor that. I honor that because that's the law, you know.
All right, what are we doing with this?
Well, I'm so new, sometimes I forget which parts of the agenda are which, so as far as I know, we don't necessarily have to make a motion on all the items that are here to discuss, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah, discuss is not necessarily you can make a motion for anything you want, you know, if it's on the agenda like that. And so we could have a motion, or we could
Just move on.
just drop it and it won't be on the next agenda. I'm seeing a lot of head nods. You know, all right. Well,
Can we table it and talk about it again?
talk about it as much as you want.
Like, let's table this and move it to the next agenda, okay? To our next meeting. I want to talk about it again. I'll be there.
Absolutely. Mr. Ferguson wants to talk about it. All right. Sounds like we have a consensus to move on to item number 3. Council discuss cost increase LeMay solid waste rates. This is more of a notification than a discussion. In our contract and all the cities, municipalities, your garbage contractor can raise rates based on whatever's in our contract. They're raising it for because of inflation related reasons, the tipping fees at
They're raising it because it's October or November.
Well, they have to do
They do it every year.
Well, they have to do it by a certain period because you have to give 60 days notice. 60 days notice, I think, before you raise utility rates, something like that. And so that's why they're on the ball with it. But I believe the tipping fees at Lewis County Solid Waste are going up, and so LeMay has to pass those on to its customers. So here it is. So that's the discussion. Any other things to say about it?
I think I read in there it was a little over $1. Did I read the wrong thing?
Just a little bit at a time, right, Mike?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So commercial is more expensive if you have, like the 1 yard, 1.5 yard. But for most residential, the highest is $2.11.
So this is informative, right? We can, okay, perfect.
I mean,
We can protest,
We
but we're
could-
not going to.
we could fire LeMay and find another one, but we had another one for a while and that was not necessarily better. Anything else on item number 3, solid waste rates? Okay, moving on to item number 4, council to discuss purchase order spending policy. All right, what is this and where did it come from? So we're in the middle of our state audit right now. This was an item that came out of the last audit If you remember, some of you would remember, maybe you won't, maybe no one will remember. We talked about spending. One of the things the council members talked about was like how much the mayor is authorized to spend and things like that. Do you remember this conversation, Jason, Mike? And so, and because if you look at our codes and in the policy and everything, there isn't really a limit how much the mayor can spend. And we were like, well, maybe we should have a limit. That way a mayor doesn't just go out and buy a car or whatever. But anyway, and for whatever reason, it just kind of disintegrated into some topics that we have, and it never went anywhere.
It didn't?
It
I thought
didn't.
We said it.
It never went
I
anywhere.
thought we set an amount.
No, no, it never.
We
it
did
never,
not.
No one, the council didn't like the idea of setting spending rate or spending limits. So for whatever reason, that's not the point. The point is, we talked about this a while back. The audit in the last audit, spending policies among not just the mayor, but city staff and everything came up, and they wanted to know what our policy was. And we didn't have one at the last audit, and they've asked us, hey, did you do this thing? Have you set this policy yet since our last discussion? And we're like, no, we haven't. And so, but we will. And so here it is. It's this policy that the state would really like us to have, saying that members of the staff and whatnot can only spend a certain amount. And the city council can decide any amount we want, but we just have to have a policy.
Is this per purchase or per cycle or per?
Kristen,
I think it's per purchase, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I just read vouchers, so it has to be over $400, I think, for people to be able to just order office supplies, right? So, ordering a bulk or something.
I thought that it was like I thought we had a certain amount but it required approval or something. Is that not
So
an acceptable policy?
Kristen has some words on that.
The process we've been doing is if it's under $100, the clerk can approve it. So if the clerk wants to go and buy whiteout for the office, it's approved. If the clerk wants to go and buy 5 rolls of stamps and it's $300, I would have to get approval from the mayor to spend that money, as long as it was included in our budget. Now, if it wasn't included in our budget and we want to go and buy a new pickup truck, we're coming to council for approval.
And just in general, any large expenses, even if it's in the budget, we've been coming to council for. But again, it's not a policy, we're just doing it.
And is there a recommended limit for a city our size that people generally allow their mayor to approve without coming to city council?
I don't know what other cities do. I haven't looked that up.
No, I wasn't sure if they had.
Can we simply draft a policy that's based on our practices, our current practices? Like, can I ask that we draft that and then bring that to the council for proposal so that we can approve it? Like that seems pretty basic, right?
That's in the packet, I think is what she's saying.
Yep, the only thing that's not on this purchase order policy is if you guys wanted the mayor to have a limit. And so we can add that, or we can leave it just as is. That's up to you guys.
I want a limit.
A latte?
Yeah,
I
we
want-
wanted a limit and we gave you a limit.
I asked for a limit before and I didn't get it.
know.
I'd give Joe a $5,000 credit card any day.
Yeah.
So a good example of something that's more realistic than a truck, say the fireworks, right? When we get the invoice from one of these fireworks places, it's several $1,000s. Now it's in the budget for fireworks, obviously, but we usually bring that to council in advance, right? And so that would be something. And so it just kind of depends on what makes sense to the council. If it's in do we want the policy to say if it's in the budget, it's okay as long as it was in the budget and it was already an intent to do it? Do we need to bring it for council again, or not? So whatever you all think is appropriate. So again, as long as there's a policy, they're going to be happy.
There would have to be a policy just to protect the city and protect the mayor,
So we'll add a line item that limits the mayor's.
So when we
individual purchasing power to
discussed
pick
this,
a number.
when we discussed this last time, I think it was was it $1,000?
400 and stuff.
So I remember 1,500 but it didn't pass. But I do know that we gave him, or gave Parks Board Chair a limit of $200 spending. So I'm wondering if you guys are thinking
Maybe
that could be brought to you?
No, because it was when you were getting ready to buy your computer, buy the computer, the new computer. Well, that's a different computer, but
The
the HP.
The other new computer before this new computer.
I think it's
the
pretty-
chunky one.
pretty,
I
yeah,
think
let's just pick a number.
what we're
and-
doing, I think that just to give you a backstop is like $1,000 or $1,500.
Sounds great.
Make a motion.
So 15, so.
Mike Parsons will make a motion that
I'll make a motion that we create a policy with the $100.
So are we approving this form if I add the mayor has a spending limit of $1,500?
Yes.
So that's what we would.
that's
So we're
way-
making a
way
motion
easier than what Mike was
To
going
approve
to
the
say.
purchase order policy with an additional line for the mayor to have a spending limit of $1,500. I made a motion.
One moment.
That was-
One moment. So who's making the motion? Someone say it. Did you make the
I
motion?
just didn't say it all.
Ms. Hanson made the motion as stated. Do we have
Hang
a-
on.
I did.
I'll second it.
Oh, second.
Mike.
Like, you do the next one.
Second, Mr. Ferguson. Discussion. Okay. Okay, so we have a first and a second on this. Obviously, the policy is in your packet with the addition of $1,500 for mayor. Obviously, it needs to be in the budget regardless, as long as it's in the budget, right? Yeah, as long as it's in the budget. Go out and buy a $1,500 set of golf clubs or whatever, I don't know. Okay, all right. Any other discussion on this?
Any other discussion? Does anybody else see the idiocracy of a state audit? Not a state is auditing us. Talking about the pot calling the kettle black. That's like.
I'm not going to tell you how much they're charging us for their set audit.
Yeah, they actually charge, that's what I was gonna say, was they actually charge us to perform the audit.
And they can't even audit
Yeah.
themselves. Anyway, sorry, let's vote.
Hey, it's your meeting.
Your blood pressure.
Rant, rave,
Blood pressure.
get up on that stump.
All those in favor?
Any other discussion on the policy? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the purchase order spending policy as stated, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Well, this is an easy one. Number 5, council to consider the lodging tax agreement grant for $5,000 towards Vader 4th of July festival. So there is a grant agreement in your packet from Lewis County. By approving that, you authorize the mayor to sign that grant agreement and we can get the $5,000, just like we did last year.
I'll make a motion that we accept the grant for $5,000 for the Vader 4th of July festival.
Motion by Mr. Daly to accept the grant agreement. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Hurt. Discussion, questions? It's a pretty good deal. It's free money.
I think Mike hit the wrong button.
Well, we still have a majority. All those in favor of approving the lodging tax grant agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Make a note that Mr. Ferguson did drop from the meeting. Okay, last item, council to discuss the interlocal agreement with Lewis County for co-management UGA. I've shown this to you in the past, this UGA co-management document. It has gone through several revisions. Lewis County already, Mr. Ferguson is back. Lewis County has already approved this, and so they consider it to be in effect as of October 1st. We did send it to the attorney. She did reply today with a few additions or changes that she'd like. And so I put it on the agenda for tonight, just so that you all could become accustomed with it, look through it, so that once we have the attorney's suggestions in order, that we can present it to you again. In a nutshell, what this is, and it's new. Lewis County, it has urban growth area management agreements with a number of cities, including us. It's kind of a way for the cities to be involved in the UGA, even when it's not in the city limits yet. And so, for instance, Lewis County, let's say they were going to, for instance, build a Dollar General in our urban growth area or something crazy like that. Dollar General would submit a building permit with Lewis County, and it would end up getting through the process. It would also get routed to the city of Vader, and we would have input on that to make sure it conforms with our standards for that zoning and things like that. So it's a good thing. It allows us to have input where in the past we might not have had any input. And so that's kind of in a nutshell what this thing is. So definitely take a look at it. It's not too hard to understand. It's not too legalese. It's broken down into small sections, and so it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. So, any discussion on that right now? There's nothing to do on it at the moment. No? No? Okay. That is the end of our city business. Elected official comments. This was a long meeting, but historically, back in the day, as they say, this is not a long meeting.
No, it was 8 o'clock all the time. 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Congratulations, John and Nicole.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Jason.
And Jason,
Yeah.
well, is there any way, actually, I do have things to say, obviously, because I'm talking. Is there any way to get the write-ins named?
I want to know too.
Because if those people are writing themselves in, they might
I want to
be
see.
interested in doing something
Oh.
else.
I just want to know if they wanted Snoopy over me or like.
Great point.
I believe that's public information.
87 people in town.
I believe the write-in candidate names are public information. Obviously, who wrote them would not be public information, but you could probably see that. I've looked into that in the past, and they have to hit a certain percentage of the total votes. So let's say John Smith got put in. Once he hit a certain percentage, they would have actually added him in there instead of just saying write in. And so I think if you reach out to the auditor, you could probably get those names. If you were that curious, it was worth your
Well,
time.
I just think it's
I remember
somebody
somebody
to approach
down
to
like
say,
take the donkey.
Take the donkey.
Take the donkey. Yeah.
How many did you have?
That's good talk, though. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm looking
and
forward to seeing that the application that Nicole put together so that people can work the numbers on the levy.
yeah, we'll work with Ms. Hanson on getting that on the website.
And I think having a QR code available so that you can scan it with your phone and link you right to it would be great.
Back to the election, the results are not finalized until I believe it's November 25th. And so while it seems unlikely that late ballots would impact the results of any of our elections, it's not finalized until the 25th. Any other comments? All right, meeting's adjourned at 7:52 p.m.
Thank you.